get this started. Another episode of Thoughts from the Void. Today we would be going over Darling in the Frank. Uh, it's like Frank, but it's like Fran XX, but it means Frank because they were saying Frank, right? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what they said. Made by A1 Pictures and Trigger. They dream of one day flying into the endless sky, even though they are painfully aware of how far the sky is beyond the glass that blocks their flight. What is that reference? Do you remember?
Uh, I do.
Yeah, it's not a very good description, is it? I think what it's referencing their lodging, how they have that glass ceiling that controls the weather in their little environment, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, and my co-host once again is Wyoming 118 or Samuel. Samuel, uh, say hello.
Hello.
And and what is your opinion of Darling in a Frank? Just a little short.
I mean, we touched on it a little bit last time. It's a good anime. You can get past the weird piloting style.
Yeah, yeah.
It's definitely one of the ones for mech people.
For mech lovers. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
usually like mechs, but I thought this one was pretty good for a mech, for a mecha, because yeah, they were in mechs, but the mechs also like bonded with them and like uh it made it so like they were the mech, like their faces would change and stuff, like you said before. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I thought it was cool, and yeah, it's a little weird how they mount them up in the mechs, but that's just yeah, innuendo for the older audience, you know. Anyway, they're made by A1 Pictures, which of course makes a lot of stuff, including Sword Art Online, etc. But I wanted to look at. They're also made by Trigger, which made Little Witch Academy, Kill la
That's a
Kill,
good one.
uh, Kill la Kill. That makes sense a little bit. And then I don't know, Inferno Cop Season 2. Nothing too much. They haven't made that much. I thought Trigger made more. I guess they haven't made a whole lot. Huh. Hmm. Alright. Well,
Well, they made all the Little Witch, it looks like.
yeah. I guess that's their big thing.
Yeah.
But
Which that was a
A1,
good series.
yeah, A1 Pictures helped. And I'm not sure which one helped with what. Like, sometimes they'll split up, like, Trigger might have made the mechs, and then A1 Pictures, like, might have made the people. Like, kind of thing. Sometimes they split, like, work up that way.
Yeah, but they were also another studio that worked at the yeah, A1 Pictures. Yeah, I think of it more as
Oh, you're breaking up a little bit. Are you
the
there?
studio. Yeah.
Alright, what was that? You re broke up.
Did I? I
Yeah.
was thinking more of the studio triggered probably did the animation, but then A1 Pictures did like all the story
Oh, the art.
and the
Well,
art and all of that.
our
Put all
main
the
characters and
other
character
pieces
development.
together. But I
They
mean,
might. I'm on the wiki. I can't really
Enterprise.
tell.
Um,
It just said the two studios. Oh, it says Cloverworks. It doesn't actually say One Pictures on the wiki. It says Cloverworks. What? Cloverworks. Oh, I guess that's connected to A1 Pictures. Yeah.
yeah, it's a
It's
subsidiary.
yeah. Anyway, my theories with the anime spoilers. So the pilots, they're called parasites, right? They have to run these mechs, these giant
Yes.
mecha things, and those the definition of a parasite, right, is like taking over something to control it, and you're like feeding off of it. And I thought the girls are called triggers, right? Something like that.
Pistols, the
Pistols?
guys are triggers.
Or the guys are triggers? So, but they're both parasites, essentially. So
Yes.
they're feeding off these mechs. Now, the mechs can change shapes, as we saw when Zero Two was driving it solo, and it looked more like a Zoid from back in the day, which I thought was cool. When she was piloting it solo,
Yeah.
because her partner died, essentially, because she just it starts out she's flying in a plane. She wants to take a bath, and like she's asking her nearly dead partner, who's like on life support, "Hey, how bad do I smell?" And he's like barely holding on to life, on the way to the what are they called? Settlements? No, not settlements. The plantation, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Because that implies slavery back in the day. That's what they're. The plantations were like giant farms where they would have indentured workers, you know? And yeah. So any thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, that's just the basic gist of it. It depends how far you got. The last episode definitely hinted
Yeah, yeah. No,
more
we'll get
towards
to the last one.
stuff,
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. We're just setting
but
the premise. We'll get there. I got some theories, man. I got some thoughts. Some thoughts
got
about
some
that.
thoughts on that.
And then what? They get attacked by these giant beasts. Hemex. I forget what they were called exactly. I just watched it. Datamex.
Calyxors.
Calisaurs? Yeah, something like that. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's like
Calisaurs.
KL. Yeah.
Calisaurs. Yeah. So they get attacked by him. Um, it's a drama sci-fi mech, and there's one giant one. The 002 girl goes out with her nearly dead comatose partner, and obviously he can't take it. He passes out. She takes over and she just attacks with the Zoid form, and then she gets hit to the stadium, and then she sees him, which they met earlier at at a kind of public, not public, at a private pool where they weren't exactly close, or she wasn't exactly wearing clothes.
It was a pond
It was a
in
pond.
their zone
Yeah,
that the children are allowed to be
their
in.
glass
Their
wall.
cage.
Yeah, their bird cage. That's what they call it. Yeah, the problem is these children don't even know what like vocabulary is. They don't know what a kiss means or anything, which
They were sheltered
they
children.
were very sheltered. And then she kisses him, and then he goes into the mech with her, and they go, and then they get synced. So when they get synced, the mecha or this monster essentially they can control. I think it might be a monster. It's like a giant beast of its own that you can control. Becomes its human form, and then it's a lot more powerful. And they one shot the beast pretty much. But after that, they spend a long time discussing whether 02 is compatible with 016 because he's had problems like fusing with people before.
But like everyone he's ever tried to sync with.
Yeah. Which is interesting though because he's a two-digit number, and there's only out of their group there's only three two digits. There's only three two-digit numbers, and apparently that's supposed to be like the more elite because it's the leader girl, the nerdy glasses guy that's with the leader girl, 016 our main character. They're all two-digit codes, which means they're more powerful, I guess. And then there's a guy, three-digit, that's 666, the devil's symbol.
Because the trick is the numbers. I don't know if it goes out indirectly. My theory based on that is their rank numbers that they're assigned is pretty much their strength or ability potential to pilot these
Yeah.
Franxx.
Do you
It's
think
pretty
it's
much how powerful they are
right?
when they pilot them,
Do you
or
think
what
it's
their potential is.
sorry? Do you
So
think
that's
it?
why the 2-digit numbers are higher ranked than the 3 digits
Yeah.
by far.
Do you think it's a rank though? Like more than just a code? Do you think it's actually like they're standing amongst all the other drivers and pilots? And
Yes. So
yeah.
that's why I'm curious to see who is number one.
Well,
Because
if
we know
you
number two.
yeah,
Is father number
in
one?
I don't know. I don't think they do much. But no, no, no. Actually, in the in the opening, there's something
The very first opening, or are you talking the other opening?
in the OP. They say 000.
So there is a solid zeros.
I think
Then
so.
there's number one. So there should be 2 people above 02.
Oh, this is just the song. We need the actual opening. I think it's the Mac. Yeah, yeah. Code 000, and they show her Mac. That's interesting because this is a very special Mac too.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yes.
So yeah, that's another reason why like uh I think they're like monsters of their own kind of thing because yeah, they call them parasites. But that's interesting that yeah the Mac is actually coded. Interesting, and yeah that's a 000. So I don't know. Maybe it's like the original or something. But she, if you remember from the first episode, she's actually like the little demon girl that they found out in the cold. Do you
Yeah.
remember? Yeah.
Yeah, she's half of the Klaxazor blood
Yeah.
in her.
And yeah, so they find her and then they put these harnesses on her horns and then I guess it helps her not mutate. But like when she goes berserk, she takes it off so she can like pilot the mech herself, pretty much. And at the end of the episode, she was like growing her fangs back because apparently she has to also get treatments to help stop it more or something. When they went to the city, they talked about, oh, we'll be able to give you your treatment. And she's like, no, I think I'm fine. I'm gonna skip this one or something because she hates it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting how much freedom they give them, where they still have a choice. Like I feel like they're slaves, but they still make a lot of choices and even though like 016 and 02 disobey father and like go out and attack by themselves, they don't get punished for it at all, which I thought was interesting. And they just like, oh yeah, I guess it worked. So all's well that ends well.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of see the basis of that, but I think it's mainly due to the doctor guy taking an
Oh, really?
interest in them as a duo pair,
You know he.
and he obviously has some in the higher ups
Yeah,
groups
he's got some pull.
because he's said to have invented the Franks.
Oh,
So
oh,
that's
so
why you can't really say that they're
they're
creatures
creatures. Well,
necessarily,
maybe yeah, maybe they were made.
unless everything here was made.
Yeah, I mean they could have been
Then
made
it's just a
from.
number system.
Oh,
And if the Franks are numbered, and they were made,
oh, you think the people were made?
and the
Maybe.
children are numbered,
Yeah, but then why would the demon girl be numbered? I don't know, unless it's like an experiment that went wrong, I guess, and like ran away.
is,
Yeah, I could
well,
see
maybe
that.
the first digits are ones that were first messed with like infusing someone with Klaxosaur blood.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's funny when they worked with the other squad, and the other squad like, oh, all our mechs are just trashy copies of each other, but we're really good at piloting them. We are in perfect unison. It takes all five of us to kill one thing, but we do it perfect.
Yeah, well,
uh,
they don't ever really lose anyone like our Rogue Squad
yeah,
or
but
Special Forces Squad
but what? Do you remember what
does.
happened? Do you remember what happened though? to the commander of that other squad. He
Oh, he had to get saved.
he ran out of gas.
Yeah, I thought that
They're like,
was
oh
funny.
yeah, that was. I mean, that was kind of weird. I guess they run on magma, right? From what I understand, because
Yeah,
that's
that's
what they
like the
use.
lifeblood of everything.
Yeah, it's like the lifeblood they use in their weapons. The
It's like
creatures
super
want to attack
fuel.
it. The creatures like it. Yeah.
If you want to reference Minecraft, it's like super fuel.
I don't know what that is, man. Super feel in Minecraft. We don't need to go off on that tangent. Why would you say something like that? Super feel. What do you use super feel for in Minecraft?
Well, it's a bucket of lava you put in a furnace, and you can
Oh,
smelt for like a day straight.
I didn't know that. That's good to know. Never mind. Well, it's appreciated. All right, and then anyway, yeah, they were really uniform and good, but yeah, they weren't efficient enough. I think because it took so many of them coordinated to take down one thing that yeah, they ran out of gas because they're like, okay, we gotta do this bad bug. All right, circle them, turn on the electroshocks, kill
It's
them.
because there were way too many creatures
Yeah,
focused on one at it. There was just no way that something wasn't going to give, and their fuel source gave. They spent way too long taking down one at a time.
pretty much, pretty much. It's unlucky. It's unfortunate that they were given such trashy mechs, honestly. But I mean, they didn't have any two digit numbers, I think, in their group. So obviously they weren't that special, I guess. They're just a little older, which is something they reference a lot. All the kids are like, "Oh, we'll go off to become adults someday. Hopefully, we'll live long enough to become adults." Hey, they went off to become adults, and I think they,
I don't think anyone becomes adults;
yeah,
they just die.
that's the
I'm just
thing.
gonna come out and say it.
I thought initially,
It's just the end of the life
right? I thought
span.
becoming an adult in quotation mark meant you died, and like, oh, he went off to become an adult. I thought that's like, oh, you went off to the big farm in the sky, but essentially they're See, that's the thing. They're kind of prisoners, and the girl, the demon girl, kept like hinting at like maybe like escaping and running away with 16 because essentially, yeah, they're in their home's called a
Oh,
birdcage.
yeah, I just thought of something. You know, Maze Runner.
Yes.
That's basically kind of what this is like.
Oh,
Except for these people aren't put through tests. They're given a lot more freedoms and are younger than what the people in Maze Runner are. But it's like the post-apocalyptical, where
apocalyptical.
a virus pretty much took over
Yeah.
and infected everything and killed everything,
Wait,
and all the people that lived had to quarantine themselves to try to
no.
stay uninfected.
Yeah.
But then, as we know from nature, nature will find a way to
Live on.
morph, evolve, so it isn't infected. And that's what I believe
You think the
is the
kids
children.
they have
The
some
kids
special
are just
DNA?
immune to it.
I don't
They may
know.
be infected, but they're just immune to the infection.
See, I
And if we want to
think
jump to the last episode that happened, that backs it up.
I don't
Because
quite
the guy questioned her, and like what was it? When the kid asked that he wanted to look at something, one of the guards said, "No, because you're infected."
yeah, they were like scanning him essentially after and they hosed him off and I think they're infected. Yeah. I agree with that. But I don't feel like their infection hurt. I mean, yes, actually I do. I feel like it hurts other people too. But I don't feel like they're immune to it. I feel like they were purposely infected, like you said, like created with like I don't know, the special DNA from the creatures to so they could
Yeah,
fuse with these things. Maybe they have their own parasites inside of them, essentially.
maybe.
And when one of the kids, I think it was 666, went off and got hit and went to the hospital, if you remember what she said, she's like, "Oh, you're not like us, so our medical facility didn't work on you, but I got to try the pet protocol and that worked." she said pet. Something about like I used the pet treatment. And it's like, what? The pet treatment? Are they pets to them? Like I
Well, they're like
or
their loyal guard dogs.
or did that just
They're
mean
there to defend
yeah.
the the people, the
Did
adults.
or did that just mean she used the small version since he's a kid? Like pets are smaller? I don't know. Yeah, that's what I thought it meant. That they're like they're pets that they tie up on chains to scare away the creatures in the night, essentially. So I thought that was interesting. And then he went back to her place, and well, at the ceremony, if you remember the ceremony, he stuck out his hand to try to shake the guard. And yeah, it's a sign of disrespect. Uh, to kind of like shake someone's hand that's a superior officer, you need to salute them. But I don't think that's what they meant by the foreshadow. I think they meant that he didn't want to touch his bare hand because he's essentially, yeah, infected and they're not to be handled with really. And
Yeah,
well, the old
and
lady,
that's why they don't always get let into the how like into the city where the adults live. Why that's very restricted to them
yeah,
because they can't risk them just running around.
yeah, and the old lady like started getting sick and coughing and feeling weak, almost like he was absorbing her power. Cause like yeah, she started feeling like really sick and weak and laying down, saying she's fine, and then yeah, she really wasn't that fine. And the longer yeah, it seemed, the longer she stayed with him, the worse she got essentially.
Yeah, and then if you see when the guards came to collect him, they gave her like a what looked like a filter thing to replace the one that she was wearing.
Oh, that little heart thing.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
it's like a blood transfusion filter, I'm guessing.
something. It almost looked like a magma powered thing in the heart thing.
Maybe,
Some kind of
but I don't quite know how lava would help.
yeah, it's everything's powered by magma, even the people. Obviously. Uh, but yeah, yeah, that was interesting that they were like that. Oh, also, uh, infection. He was being infected after too many trips with the girl. He started to get the blue infection, which looked like the monsters, and it even had its own like beat to it, you know, when he looked at it.
Yeah,
If you remember. And then yeah, I just started slowly consuming him until he like fully accepted her, and then it went away.
yeah.
Now,
He had to accept her for what she was.
yeah, and that didn't happen to anyone else that was riding with her. Everyone else just kind of started coughing blood and dying, and they they said his blood had an abnormal amount of yellow blood cells. Now, yellow blood cells are not, as far as I know, us humans have red blood cells and not yellow blood cells. So I thought that was interesting that, yeah, there was a huge spike in yellow blood cells and then this infection. So essentially, the infection is yellow blood cells, so like monster DNA. So she brought out the monster DNA in him. I don't think she actually infected him with monster DNA. I think them fusing together confused his body because like when they fuse in the mechs, it essentially like bonds them and then so his body thought he was her and she was part monster. So like and since he's one of the two-digit numbers, I think that accelerated the monster DNA in his body and maybe this is what happens to them when they get older because I don't
Yeah.
think they ever become
And it's
adults.
kind of weird how like almost everything in this like in the thing references like flowers and plants and stuff
And birds. They keep
and
throwing up
birds because
birds.
like all of their mech names are a type of plant or flower.
Oh, are they? I guess I didn't realize that.
Yeah, if you click on them, that's what it goes to.
Oh, that's cool.
Then like the Stritzlia is the bird paradise flower
Oh,
because how in one of the episodes they were talking about how they'll be each other's wings to
yeah.
fly, and like the mechs one of its translations, or what it is a bird flower,
That's
which
cool.
looks like a bird with wings.
Uh, that's cool. So yeah, I thought yeah that is interesting that they're referencing flowers. I don't really know quite what that has to do with everything. Maybe it's because the
Well, if
mechs
I
were
knew,
cloned. I'm not sure.
I don't.
Just a nice reference to flowers, I guess. A good theme to
Yeah,
name
but
the mech
each one has like a different. Like
weapon.
flowers mean a lot of different things. Maybe if I knew more what
Yeah,
these meant, then it would be more obvious the link of what it's referencing towards.
yeah, like if the flower's
Like
poisonous
one
or
of them's like the spider plant.
spider plant. Let me Google it. Spider plant.
You could just click on it. It's the one with 214 and 196 in it. Leah and Black Shepherd. Blake
Spider
Shepherd.
plant, common household plant known as airplane plant. It's known as, known as the airplane plant. So that references flying. You know. Hmm. I guess it's a common household plant though, so that's interesting. It doesn't seem to be deadly. Anyway, so uh, he got accelerated levels of yellow blood cells, which I think accelerated his aging process. And I believe the kids never grow up and they just die from the infection. But he seems to have merged with her, and she's like half a monster, so I don't think she will die from whatever. Because I feel like she's something else entirely. I don't think she was made by the doctor, but there's a chance that she was, and she's just more monster
Or
than everyone else.
or he just found her
Or he
like
found her
that.
and then cloned her DNA to everyone else. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, and she's just one of the originals that he found.
Yeah. So essentially, he gets over it, and he's fine after the third trip, which he was supposed to die. But everyone else was dying from like psychological trauma and like bleeding out of their face. But he was getting elevated yellow blood cells, and that yeah, I think that's the monster DNA that was in their body. Yada yada yada. We'll see what happens. Everyone else, I think, has the same kind of monster DNA, depending on how high of a level you are. That's like how much you have. Because I don't know why they need this DNA or like they need to be special to pilot these mechs. They really don't say, but it seems to be there's a tie to since she's so powerful and she's like half monster blood herself. Seems to be a tie to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's the episode, the beach episode, which oddly enough adds to the fact where they find the old orphanage where the old group was, and now it's completely abandoned and destroyed. Back when they used to
Yeah.
live by a nice beach, and then they
And
moved
then
to the cage.
yeah, and that pretty much um starts down the path of puberty
They
for
learn what a
them
kiss is, I
because the
think.
one yeah, they learn what that is and one girl gets a book on children pretty much.
Oh yeah, yeah, in the place. But then they go back to their cabin, and like one of the rooms, I forget which room they were in. I think they were in their cabin, back at their bird cage, which rains whenever the machine makes it rain. They find a picture of the old class that died, is what the number two said, which I believe that. Uh, they want to think they went off to become adults, but yeah, they probably just straight up died from the infection or from combat. I'm guessing the infection, but you can only speculate. Something should be said about like this group is the most unique group they have. It's like an oddball group they threw together of like special mechs and like it's more advanced than everyone else, but like also it has more flaws and it's a lot more of a rogue team.
Yep. Yeah, they're definitely the oddballs.
Do you have a favorite mecha?
A favorite out of the group?
Yeah. Get like the sniper one. What is it?
I mean,
There's like a lance. There's the claws. There's the sniper. There's like double spear sword thing. I think that's it.
yeah, I mean, the gun one's not bad, but we haven't seen too much done by any other group
Yeah.
or the main one, because that one's Strelitz is obviously the most powerful
Yeah.
by
But she's only
far.
like a super long lancer. And I thought she had a shield, but I think it was just her arm blocking ones. We haven't
Yeah.
seen to. Apparently, we're on episode 10 right now. Apparently, there are. It goes to 13 this season. So we'll have to see how that ends. Have to see. Any closing statements? Final words? Anything you wanna you're predicting in the show? Samuel?
Um. Hmm. I'm trying. I'm almost thinking. I don't know. Clones. I'm definitely thinking some clones.
Something
That
like
they're clones of something.
their DNA is cloned from something. Yeah. I mean, they don't. What is it? He sh- it seems to be the women are more replaceable than the men. Or no, like the women, if they don't work, they get replaced because our partner, our main character 16, had an original girl that didn't work, and they sent her away, which essentially means she went off to become an adult and maybe died. And her like transport got destroyed, but then they said she was okay. But
She got hospitalized.
yeah,
Yeah.
but we
But
don't
no,
really know that.
supposedly she was getting transported back to the orphanage, which is wherever the kids originally grew up
Which
at.
was probably that beach house. No, I don't know. So yeah, I don't know. I think she's probably gone because they reference to it like, have you ever heard about anyone like all the kids? They reference all the kids that used to go missing when they were at the orphanage for like testing and treatments probably and like just going off to fight, I guess.
Yeah.
They reference the front line though. They kept trying to send two back to the front line if they couldn't get her to work with this kid, 16. So I don't know what that means. The front line? Is there like a bigger complex that has a ton more magma that draws in a lot more creatures or something that they constantly have to fight? Like why are they on like some alien planet? Like I don't feel like humans could have survived here. I feel like they're taking over this planet because I don't feel like they started here, you know?
Yeah. It's hard to say
The planet
whether they
is
started here. Because, I mean, if you've seen World Break,
which one? What'd you say?
oh, what was it? World Break?
World Break?
Is that World Break? I think it's World Break. I might be a little off in my title.
Oh no, Samuel. A1
Look it
Pictures
up.
made Urmanga Sensei. Urmanga Sensei. Well, I don't know. I still feel like they came from Earth and then they like wanted to take over this place because of all the power and like strange creatures and like the magma gets them off or something. They uh they had like a little almost like a reference to SAO because when they saw the old lady, her partner, which I didn't really couldn't really tell how old he was in like a stasis simulation like dive gear like chamber where he was just never seen her or something. Like she said she hadn't talked to him in like years. She couldn't even remember his voice. He was like getting pleasure off of some program or like virtual reality world he was in or something. So they don't like they seem to be numb to what's going on actually on the planet.
Yeah, they're definitely sheltered beyond all belief.
Yeah.
But I
I mean, it's crazy that they trust these kids
drawing a
anyways.
blank, but there is another show that I've watched. I'm drawing a blank on what it's called, but it's not World Blank because I looked that up. That doesn't look right. But it's one where it was like an um
I mean, the Blood Orphans, they went to a planet.
no, it's one where it's another show where it was the Earth, and then the Earth got infected due to different countries making bio experiments. But then the
Oh,
bio experiments got out of control,
yeah.
which were these creatures, and then pretty much took over the Earth. Then everyone had to move to start living on these rocks, like floating islands
Oh, yeah, yeah,
above
yeah, yeah.
the land.
Yeah, you wanted me to watch that one. I remember that.
Yeah, I wanted you to watch that one. I do not remember what that is
No,
called
I think
though.
it was on
But
Netflix.
that one definitely I could see some connections between
Yeah,
that one and this one.
I actually want to go back and watch that now that I've seen this one. Cause yeah, I remember, and he goes to the academy, and he's got some crazy powers. Yeah, that does. I did think about that. Like they're all in like the back of like these turtles or something, little homes. Yeah, I remember that. So, but I don't believe that's. I don't know. Unless they destroyed this world unrecognizable, like that world, that could happen, I guess.
Yeah.
Cause yeah, it seems to be mostly like desert, and I mean they found one beach apparently, but no, not much, not much.
Yeah, one little safe section ish
All right.
area.
Closing thoughts. Good anime. It reminds me of a lot of like yeah, other mech shows like that one you just brought up. A little bit of like Guilty Crown where there's like an infection and like the people like telling you what to do. The government doesn't really seem to be trustworthy with Big Brother and these secret council meetings, and they seem to be scheming about the future of these people, even though they're. I haven't seen any force by them. It just seems like I'm waiting for them to just tie them all down to beds and like inject them with something, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean that's I believe, and Zero Two's kind of hinted towards that a little bit of that happened to her at some point
Yeah.
early on.
Well, it seems to keep her under control. Like she didn't hate it, but she just doesn't like it. But I don't know. She doesn't seem to be unhappy, but like she also doesn't want to work for the government. She doesn't want to be with them. But I thought that's just because she's a monster and she doesn't feel like she belongs with the humans. I'm not sure. I don't know why she got drawn to him either. It's probably because he has a lot of monster DNA in him or something. I think the father just kind of doomed them all from birth. So he's like, yeah, I mean, how much can these kids really mess up? They're only going to live till they're 20 or something, you know? Something. Like 16 maybe.
But yeah, then something we haven't really touched on is the Nine,
The 9.
which is Zero Two's former squad.
Oh,
That they like elite of the elite, which I'm guessing the nines refers to they're all under number nine, or it's like nine and under,
oh.
because she's 02.
I guess I don't remember that. I just remembered the the other group of people recognized her and freaked out and said, "Yeah, we're not working with her." The basic
Yeah,
mech
because they're
people.
pretty much they're like the hated squad.
Oh,
They're like
oh.
the
So
dark force that's
yeah,
hated by everybody.
that'll probably be
But
something they have to beat. Maybe later on, if they go against
yeah,
the government, they'll have to fight against that squad or something.
something.
Maybe season 2. Yeah, they'll hint at it like at the end of the season, be a cliffhanger, and then they'll have to fight them all next season or something.
Or they'll be hunted by them next season.
Yeah.
They'll do something and then be running. Who knows?
It's really interesting. It takes a fresh spin on the mecha for me because they usually have trouble associating with mechas. But maybe maybe I just don't give them a big enough shot. But this is definitely
Yeah,
like
like Aquarion,
just leave me
which
alone, man.
highly relates to this one.
All right, man. If you say so. The Darling Frank is the Darling Frank, and it's pretty good. I highly recommend it so far. She's kind of like a yandere, except for the fact that uh, like that he's choosing to kill himself. She's like, yeah, I'm gonna kill you, and I want to be with you really bad, but also you have to choose to kill yourself to be with me, or something. And then he finally does, and now he's not gonna die from her. What is it with pink-haired women, Sam, in anime being crazy yonder is?
I don't know.
It's just
It just seems to be the pattern. That's why I was
right.
saying in the game, I was like, yeah, how do you like my anime yandere?
Oh yeah, yeah. In the game we were just playing.
You know,
Does
pink
she have
hair.
pink hair?
She does.
What's that other one? Evangelion or something?
Evangelion. Yeah. Aquarion, and then there's Evangelion, which relate to this one. Then, oh, it's gonna drive me crazy. It's like the
Did I spell that right?
I don't
I
know.
I butchered that. I forget what it is. It's the crazy girl. She has like invisible hands. Remember? She breaks out and kills a whole bunch of people.
Invisible.
Or
Oh, what is that?
or a login? No, 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 no.
I
That's not right.
think that's that weird Netflix one.
No, I
Pretty sure
guarantee.
that was a Netflix one. Yeah, where it's yeah.
Let's look at my list. I probably won't even be able to pronounce it if I find it. Yeah.
Maybe.
Ifan lied. Ifan lied. Ifan lid. Something like that. Elfun lied. I think that's Elfun lied. It means Elfun song or something, or Elfinic song. And yeah, she's like red hair, purple hair. She's like a demon girl that reminds me of this girl, but she like broke out of captivity. She has like invisible tentacle hands that slice you in half, pretty much. It's pretty gorific. I never finished it,
Horrific.
but
I never finished it.
yeah, I could send you a picture if you wanted. Anyway, we're looking forward to seeing more from Darlene Frank. We'll try to touch back on it and continue putting out reviews slash podcasts slash just talking about the new anime coming out. All right. So, any final words from Samo?
Well, I mean, I definitely think there's going to be some. I don't know that they'll be unpredictable, but there'll definitely be some twists at the end of the season.
Yeah, definitely something with father. So, Austin Parsons with thoughts from the void, asking you for your thoughts in the comment section. We'll see you next time from Austin and Samuel. See ya.
Bye.